talking to Julian on Zoom and Facebook, trying to get him onto the bloody Instagram.
I've
So it looks
requested
like I'm
again.
talking to myself. Right. Okay. Accept. Yes, I do want to go
I
live
should
with you.
appear. I should. Oh, I think it's happening. Ooh.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, here we are. Oh,
There
we
he
are
is.
live. There we are. Turn down the volume on that.
Right
Hello.
now. Hello. Okay. This is trippy as hell, but let's see how this works.
Like living in a fractal.
And the thing is, we both have highly destructible brains.
Oh no.
So
How did we think this was a good idea?
oh shit.
Try
Yeah.
not to
I
look
mean,
at both screens.
it's funny because it kind of goes into, it kind of segues really awesomely into what we're going to be talking about. 1 second, let me just get the email open. So I've got the talking points. There we go. Because Julie and I are both wonderfully spicy brained, where we can both become very highly distracted. So anyway, so anything that we do, there needs to be talking points, there needs to be a cadence. Otherwise, we're both going to go wildly off topic and it will turn into a free-for-all. I mean, it's probably good that it wasn't recording what we were talking about before, but
Probably not.
probably not.
That
But
was a comedy side alley.
that was a that so, I mean, obviously, this is on Facebook and Instagram. Everybody knows we are both sexuality professionals, so sometimes the humor goes down that tangent. But there we go. We are talking today, and I'm going to get my talking points up specifically around sexuality professionals and content and marketing, because for Julie and I, it's both a passion and something we're both really skilled at. I'm just going to adjust my phone there. And we also know that it's a real sticking point, pun intended, for sexuality professionals. So, Julian, please introduce yourself to people who do not know you. I'll see if I can adjust my phone. There we go.
Sure.
Move
While you're
myself
adjusting
back.
your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Julian Marcus. I'm the founder of the School of Relational Bodywork, and I trained as a sexological bodyworker. Before that, I trained in the Wheel of Consent with the School of Consent with Dr. Betty Martin. And yeah, I bring together a fusion of bodywork with person-centered or client-led somatic coaching. And I teach people that and I practice that. And I have a branch of my business which is supporting sex professionals with production, e-course, personal branding, websites and things like that. So I have a team around me that we do that for other sexuality professionals mainly, but other practitioners in general. So finding ways that feel less icky and more joyful for people to communicate what they love and what they do in their life is a passion of mine and yours as well. So yeah,
Awesome.
for the people on my Instagram that don't know you, Lucy, do you want to say
Hello.
something about what you do and who you are?
Hello, Julian's Instagram. And hello, anybody. And this is really trippy down the rabbit hole. So I'm Lucy Rowett. Let me adjust myself so you can see my very sexy face. I'm a certified sex coach and certified sexologist, and I work particularly with women and people with vulvas around feeling more pleasure, de-shaming your sexuality, and feeling safer in your body. So my sex coaching lineage is slightly different to Julian, because he went down the more embodiment sex bod route. I went down the more clinical sexology route and then got more into the embodiment. But my background is also in social media marketing and content marketing. In many ways, I could say I taught myself, but I didn't. I did lots of other courses and I ended up working in it as well. And if you know me on social media, I tend to be quite prolific. I share my thoughts a lot. I'm quite good at communicating how I think and how I feel. And it means that, what was I going to say? So part of my business is working with women and vulva havers around issues around shame, pleasure, embodiment, feeling good in their bodies. And the other half is mentoring sexuality professionals. And I say deliberately sexuality professionals around finding your voice online, finding a way of marketing that feels really good for you. And I say sexuality professionals particularly because so much traditional marketing and business advice is not applicable, or it's not applicable, it doesn't work for us. You know, that there's extra hurdles where if you've been in the self-employment business space, you would have heard the term, mindset, and there's a lot of it is mindset. Well, yes, there is, but often for spicy professionals, there's that. And then there's the added thing of, well, there are actually very real physical things, very real things where, number one, is it safe for you to be out to your colleagues? Because I know people who can't be out about what they do to their family and friends. There's also the constant risk of being banned or shadow banned.
Censorship. Yeah.
Censorship. There's also sometimes a legal issue depending on what you do. So a lot of business and marketing advice doesn't always work for us. Like if one more person says, do Facebook ads or do this, it's like, we can't do them that easily. And especially on social media, we're always trying to run the gauntlet of wanting to be visible, but not so visible that we get kicked off the platform.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's really difficult. And also something that I've realized and I've noticed in both in my own personal experience and mentoring sexuality professionals in marketing, most of us are very spicy brains. Most of us tend to get into this because we don't fit into a kind of corporate lifestyle, into a general 9 to 5, which is kind of why we got into doing this kind of work in the first place, as well as a passion, as well as probably the healing that it's done in our own lives. But then the flip side of that is people don't often realize that learning to market yourself and running a business is a whole separate skill set that none of us, unless you have a background in it already, it's an added load to your nervous system when you're already trying to figure out and trying to get better at what you do. So this is something that I really love teaching and love working with, what Julian loves doing too, which is how can we make the big, bad, scary topic of marketing and like the word content as something that we can reframe as something that feels joyful and something that feels like an extension of us rather than, oh, so I've got to write content and I hate this. So should we speak into that first, Julian?
Yeah, definitely. It reminds me, I was invited to speak at a summit. I think it was last year, the Authentic Marketing Summit, and the website's still up. You can still get access to those videos. I did a half-an-hour video for them, and it was on that very topic that Lucy, you've pointed to there, where I feel the key is to first identify why we do the work, why we love it, and what benefits, what's in it for us also. We often don't look at that side of it. Why do we do what we do? Well, I do what I do because I love to see the evolution and change in people and the self-permissioning and the choice, the embodied choice that they start making towards their happier and healthier self, be that sexual self or not. So then if we remember what it is that we love about our practice, why we do it, what do we get? What is the to give is to receive. So in that giving of your practice, I invite, if you're listening now, to tune into, why do I do what I do? What do I get from it in a healthy way? You like to see people's sex life improve, or you like to give whatever it is that you do, and why. And then when we remember that and we give ourselves permission that that's okay, that if we acknowledge that and bring it into the light, that is why I do what I do. And then content or marketing is an avenue for more people to receive that benefit and for you to receive more reciprocal satisfaction for helping others. That for me was a fundamental shift of, now it's not this thing that I do to do what I like to do. It's an invitation to do, an invitation into the interaction where I get to get more inspired by the choice that arises in people towards their happier, healthier sexual self. And they get the benefit of that. So that helped me, and that's what I spoke about at the marketing summit, was if we start with a reframe about bringing the two together, where marketing and content is not something that you have to do in order to do what you love to do. It's an invitation into and an opportunity to create more gifting of the service and the benefits that you bring, and more of an opportunity for you to enjoy what you love doing because of the reasons that you can reflect on as to why you do what you do. So I like to start there. I don't know how that resonates with you.
And this is kind of why one of the reasons we connected in the first place is this is similar to how I like to teach it. One of my personal ethoses when it comes to how I market myself. I think one of the pitfalls in a lot of people, when we kind of take your first online business course, or you hire a business coach, or you do a marketing course, and there's so many brilliant people and courses out there with loads of really good information. But often what can happen is you can fall into the technical side, which is, I've got to learn SEO, I've got to learn what keywords are, I've got to learn metadata, I've got to post 5 times a week with like tips on this. Okay, I've got to use Instagram, I've got to use Facebook. And it's no surprise that for most people, that is just going to cause shutdown, especially if you already have an indifferent or icky relationship with tech anyway. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, in order for you to make money, you've got to be active on all the platforms, and you've got to have shit hot SEO, and you've got to be doing all these like really viral content. It's no wonder that so many people go into freeze and think that it's not for me, that, you know what, I hate all of this tech, it's too much, it's too newfangled, doesn't work, I'm just gonna, you know what, just leave it alone, and either I'll go back to my regular job, or I'll. And by the way, I'm not against like old school ways of marketing. Networking is really important. Networking is really powerful. Sometimes leaving paper flyers is really powerful. It's not about saying you should definitely do this and not rely on like in-person stuff as well. I'm saying this gets to be an addition, and it gets to be something fun, and it gets to be something that gets to be an extension of yourself, rather than a thing that you must do when it reminds you of being at school, which will then make all of your rebellious side come out and go, not doing that, not doing that. And it's also that there are so many people that I follow, and one of the big things that I've taken from all of the business and marketing stuff I've done for myself and professionally, it's like, I'm always going to be more successful and more efficient when what I'm doing feels good. And
Definitely.
so it means that, you know, I have lots of what I call business besties, where we're constantly challenging ourselves. What would feel fun? Okay, this isn't working right now. This feels frustrating. Okay, I've gotten more into the shoulding rather than where is my energy at? What would feel really fun to do?
Definitely.
And I really like this idea that we get to keep reframing the words of marketing and content as a way of sharing your gifts with the world and inviting people in. Like there's one marketing person I always recommend, Simone Soul, and I'm sure other people have said this, but what if you got to rename the word content as like love letters, or, you know, love letters to the people you want to bring in, or an extension of your personality or your creativity. And what a lot of business experts also say, especially this is where small businesses have the edge, it makes you more personal rather than corporate. People
Yeah.
want to buy from people. They want to buy from real people, especially in this really sensitive, intimate work we do. So actually, the more you can show off more of your brilliant weirdness, you know, with the typos, with the spelling mistakes, you know, writing or speaking in the way that you normally speak, that's actually going to create more trust,
Yeah,
as
it's
opposed
relatable.
to,
Yeah.
it's relatable. And that's going to create more of a no like trust factor than agonizing for hours about creating the perfect blog post where it feels like pulling teeth.
Yeah, those should factors that you mentioned. If we think about the word embodiment, is for me, well, there's lots can be said about embodiment, but
Yeah.
our thinking and doing, being in communication, our thinking and feeling, and that we don't just do things disconnected from the why, and like you said, as an extension of your personality, or that it's joyful and fun, or that we see that it's ways to invite people and create spaces where we can be in service to what we love in the ways that we love and that we
Yeah.
know bring benefit. So for me, that's the connection. And the moment we drop that in service of, well, I would feel excited to make one post on Instagram, but if I've got to repurpose it and do it on YouTube and LinkedIn as well, then it starts to become an effort. So I know Kat Biles of The Path with Heart. She's written a book. She advises find the platform where you most enjoy to hang out yourself. Where do you like to watch
Exactly.
content? So that's a good indicator. Where do you feel most comfortable? Is the place that you like to consume content the place that you also feel most comfortable to share content? And start with one. So
Yeah.
um, I think that's really good advice. And I think that the moment we think, oh, well, I've got to do this 10 different ways, and then we lose the joy and we lose the thread between this is an invitation into me being in service to what I love and my clients receiving the benefit of what I do. And it
Yeah.
becomes disembodied into all these different names of platforms and technology. And then I wanted to speak to your point about like in person. For me, I've been watching my own marketing efforts and rise of popularity of my content and the School of Relational Bodywork. And for me personally, by far the most boosting to that is committing and doing public events,
Mm,
networking through actually doing my work, committing to run retreats and courses, host and collaborate with other professionals like we're doing now. Every time I do something like this, it brings a multitude of benefits
mm,
for me, for you, for our clients, for other practitioners. And a lot of my work is with other practitioners. A lot of the
yeah.
people that even come to see me in private practice are other
Mm,
sexuality or therapeutic professionals. So that shift of what works for you, um, and starting with where the joy is.
mm,
There's lots of beautiful books like A Path with Heart and Invitations to Lead with Joy or Lead with Your Heart. And I think all this is all pointing to what would be fun, joyful, satisfying, what qualities are not present that you would desire to be welcoming into your creativity, to your expression or
mm,
love letter writing, whatever it is that you
mm.
do. If you enjoy writing blogs, what could you write for days about without feeling tired? You know, these are good questions to ask because
It
if
is. It
if
is.
you've got to effort, and then you could get an SEO tool and say, oh, I
Yeah.
love writing about attachment styles. Could do it forever. That's not the case with me, but someone might love to write about attachment styles, and then they could do a little bit of keyword research,
Hmm.
but it's born out of. So the technical
Yeah.
necessities, I think, should come out of an already easeful, joyful uprising of energy towards a certain topic or a certain kind of creation. And then that can be content rather than
Exactly.
what should I create? And then, oh, I've got to do this. And then
Yeah.
um, I think this is another part of the interruption for people to getting to do it.
And you literally taken the words out of my mouth because that's literally what I say as well. And this is why we created the content salon or
Mm,
content salons. It's it's not that the tech and the theory doesn't matter. Like
mm,
it really helps to know. Like
mm,
it helps to know the basics of SEO. It helps to know
mm-hmm,
that at the moment Facebook and Meta not as sex friendly, but you
mm-hmm,
can still absolutely thrive on there. It helps to know that if you're going to do videos or short form content, to upload it to YouTube too, because that's going to help with your Google search results. That helps, but
mm,
it's less about that and more about where is the joy first? Where is the energy first? I'm not saying it's a clean cut thing, it's not, but it's
mm.
more about where is the energy and the creativity first? Follow that, and then we can put some of the tech stuff there. But
Yeah.
for so many of us, and I have absolutely fallen into this, it's the trying to do all the funnels, trying to get all the keywords right ahead of, well, where is the medicine in what I teach in the first place? Where is my own energy in this? Whether if
Mm.
you can hear creaking, it's my chair and I'm doing a shuffle around. But I've often said to clients when I was working around marketing mentor, and it's like, if you are bored and frustrated writing or creating something, that's going to generally
Of
come
course.
across in what
Yeah.
you create. And it doesn't mean that you always have to be in a state of being high vibe and excited every time. Now that's not human. It's more that if you notice a pattern of this feels like pulling teeth, maybe notice that.
It's
Um,
self, to me, sorry to interrupt. I feel that's self-sabotaging, and I've created
yeah.
content like that in the past. It's like I've got to do this, and you're almost proving to yourself. So one of the tools we use in the content salon, uh, last one that we did, Lucy did a beautiful and clear presentation. And before that, we did some somatic
Mm,
practices. And that helps. One of the modalities that I use, that I was taught by Katie Sara, is body poem. And one of her slogans for that modality is reversing the tides of projection. So
mm.
is your marketing a projection of your discomfort of doing it? Well, I think the truth is that it will be, and mine was. And I saw that, oh my God, sometimes I create content because I think I should. And as you said, it totally reads to the receiver and even
Mm,
on a subconscious level. So they might be like, oh yeah, that's interesting. but they don't hook into it. So it's like,
Mm,
what makes things viral? And again, if we're trying to make things viral, then we're trying to find the formula of what will be popular, as opposed
yeah,
to following our authenticity. So
yeah.
I would say, let's our salons are great, I feel, in the balance of theory. We have a space for co-working, so you can
Mm,
actually get SHIT done on the call. Lucy leads with a lot of clarity and runs through her presentations, which are available to you afterwards. I tend to bring at the beginning a somatic tune in to what's alive in you and what's driving you in this moment. What are your challenges? What do you want to welcome in and create? And then they're a productive space for you to
mm,
take that self-inquiry, lean upon us for some tech support or Q&A, and then get to some stuff done in that session and have some co-accountability from ourselves and your fellow colleagues,
yeah.
and hear the general struggle that we all have, but really focus that into can-do energy for the
Mm,
salon. So
yeah.
we got great feedback on the last one, and I look
Yeah.
forward to our next one together.
We do. I mean, one second, I can read out the lovely testimonial from Michael Dresser in a moment. Let me find it. Feels like very infomercial, but I do want to read this out. And something else that I want to add, of the many things I would add,
Mm,
is that it's really important in this, to when it comes to content. First of all, I keep thinking of the phrase, it's not that deep, because so many of us can, I say so many of us, me especially, can get into cycles of procrastination, overthinking, but it has to be a certain way. That, especially when it comes to a social media post or even writing on your website or anything, people can, one of the most common pitfalls is over analyzing, overthinking. Okay, should I do a grid post on Instagram? Should I do a carousel post? Should I do a reel, whatever? And I keep asking, it's not that deep. It's not that big a deal. Not in terms of what you have to say is not that big a deal, but the delivery in which you deliver it, it's not that big a deal. Like, what's the worst that can happen? There's no interaction. What's the
mm,
worst that can happen? Somebody gets annoyed. And when I say that, it's this fear that you're going to get it wrong. And this also speaks into there is a very real fear sometimes for sexuality professionals, whether it's coming out to friends and family, whether it's, am I going to get banned for this post? I don't want to dismiss that fear either, but it's that messy middle ground of, how much am I overthinking this and making this a bigger deal in my head than it actually is. You
mm,
don't have to really obsess about color schemes. You don't have to obsess about, have I got the keywords right? Done is better than perfect. And one of my other mottos is, do it crappily, but do it anyway. Because you can spend so long trying to get it perfect, trying to go over and over and over and round in your head about making it a
mm,
certain way, rather than, what if we could bounce the boundaries of making it imperfect and scrappy? And yes, that will definitely push your comfort zone, but done is better than perfect. And remember, it's the essence of what you're trying to communicate, more than getting your word count in and making sure you're using the right emojis. I mean, oh, bloody hell. Remember
mm,
that so many people are already feeling a bit fatigued with social media perfection.
yeah.
And that means we can, say, play into that or use that to our advantage. Well, most people are sick of social media perfection. So what if you
Mm,
just share more really messy stuff that will probably create more no like and trust factor?
mm-hmm. Plastic fatigue.
Activity. Or, like, like, what was it, a few years, back in the earlier days of Instagram, it was all about having the perfect grid. And
Hmm.
like the soft beige aesthetic, where everyone's homes were supposedly white, and like all white services and pristine. Like, who lives like that? I don't. I own one wide brimmed hat that I very rarely wear. I love wide brimmed hats, but like, my life does not look like a certain aesthetic. And I think, if you enjoy, like, if you're somebody who's very artistic, where the idea of having a really nice grid, it does something to your brain, where it's like, oh, it feels good, do that, because
Mm,
that's a reflection of who you are. But
mhm.
if the idea of having a perfect grid makes you break out in hives or just get really frustrated, don't do it.
And if it's robbing
It's not
too
that
much of your
deep.
joy, your time, and yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no.
What you've been sharing there reminds me of the Jedi thing. I wasn't into Star Wars, but I have been watching the films with my son because he's 11. And apparently it was Yoda who said, "Do or do not, don't try." And I think that's very good. That's like pointing at what you're saying about marketing, because it's the trying that's the bind. If you feel that you're
Yeah,
trying to do it, it's that effort. But
yeah,
like you said, done is better than perfect. So
yeah.
to
Done and
follow the
scrappy is
joy,
better than
do and do
perfect.
not, don't try. Because if you're trying, you're not going to enjoy it. That essence of trying. I even bring it in with my work with couples. I'm like,
Yeah,
does your effort to live and enjoy a good relationship feel like you're trying more than, focus on the quality of the relating rather than the relationship.
yeah,
And I think that's true of our marketing. What would be the qualities that I would like to bring? What would
mhm,
attract the kind of people I enjoy to work with into my
yeah,
practice or into my temple or whatever you call the space that you work? Um, Lead with those qualities that are going to
mm,
attract others. And like you say, if you like a really tidy grid, uh, then that's authentically you. And then
yeah,
you'll attract people who also appreciate tidiness and a really tidy temple or whatever it is that
mhm,
you work from. So that's authentic for the people that want a tidy grid. But the people that struggle and are trying to get a tidy grid, I would argue that that's robbing your life force energy to try and be something
yeah,
that you're not, and go with
yeah,
authenticity if you, yeah. So,
yeah. And then something that leads on to, I mean, there's some of the lead on points, but I was working with a really good business coach called Ash Robinson a few years ago. She's really awesome. And she said, what gives you ROE, like return on energy? So we hear about the term ROI, return on investment. What gives you ROE?
mm,
And it's, especially, doing the work that we do is incredibly energy intensive, or it can be very energy intensive. You know that your energy is super important. So when it comes to marketing and creating content, whether that's written or video or audio, doesn't fucking matter. But literally, that's also one of the main things. Really doesn't matter. But what is going to give you a return on energy? What is going to help boost you up and feed that lovely feedback cycle? And what is going to drain you? And
mm,
that can also be that even if you're using a platform or a medium that you normally really like, if you
mm,
find that your energy is feeling sucked, that's a really good that's a really good marker. That's the one. Like for me personally, I decided to uninstall all my social media apps on my phone temporarily, just so that I could have a bit more headspace. I do really enjoy social media, but I have to, like most people, I'm still trying to navigate that relationship where I'm not being sucked into it all the time. So
mm-hmm,
my head feels clearer. So I enjoyed the apps, I enjoyed posting on them, but the way I was using it was sucking my energy. So I
mm.
changed that. I've started posting more on Substack because I really like long form. I like long form. I like writing long, waving my hands here. Long flowery things.
We're
And
doing some qigong now.
qigong, I like waving my hands on screens, um but that is me following more of my energy. I started my
Mm,
podcast last year because I really enjoy the sound of my own voice and I like talking to people, and I did that in the most scrappiest way I could think. And I remember having feedback from a friend and a colleague saying, because one of the episodes I did, it was a repurposed voice note I'd sent to a group program I did like 2 years ago, and they said, like, wow, that's so cool, you just used a voice note, can I do that? And I'm like, yes. Like your podcast could literally be a voice note that you're recording into your phone that you do not edit and you upload to the internet. That might
mm,
definitely, almost certainly push your perfectionism, but done is better than perfect, and scrappy and crappy is better than not doing anything at all.
mm-hmm. So who's your salon for? Our salon.
Our salon. So our salon is for spicy and censored professionals. So basically, people who work with sexuality, and I'd probably say work in a field where it's pretty censored,
Mm-hmm.
where if you talk about what you do, there's a risk of people going, where you're constantly having to walk the line of, oh God, is Meta going to ban me for saying this?
Yeah.
where using a lot of platforms is basically edge play. I got that in.
Yeah.
We're using social media platforms as a form of edge play that you're not 100% sure you're consenting to, because it's, oh my God, that was a good metaphor. You're not 100% sure if you're going to get kicked off or not. So
Mhm.
that's why the salon is for you.
And you definitely
Obviously,
want to ask consent beforehand, because then you'll be more than shadow banned. You'll be told, no, 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 go somewhere else. Get off,
uh,
get off. Yeah, so we support, don't we? We support a wide range of professionals. Um, and if you're not used to creating content and you want to start, or you've been struggling with the trying, and or if you want advice that you found your joy and you know what you want to share and why, but you want some support on the technical and the execution and the channels that you could use and how and why. Uh,
mhm.
and also if you're a procrastinator and having a window of,
Ooh,
an edging
that's a good one.
procrastinator, ooh, ooh, then you should come along, because we will create a time and we'll all go into silence and work together and unmute ourselves for questions and support. But we are here for you to
Mm.
support your edging procrastination into productive something else.
Oh God, same. And there will probably definitely almost be innuendos. But
I know. So transform it into, a sub, stacking your sub. You do sub stack.
oh,
Oh,
oh, that's a good one. We're gonna
that was a good one.
stack your subs. Yeah,
Sub.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yes. Especially if you're a procrastinator, like what Julian said, where maybe you're someone who's got loads of ideas and
Mm.
you've never really implemented them, and you're stuck in that freeze and that procrastination of there's so many things I could do and I don't know where to start. Come,
Hmm.
because
Mm.
we're going to help you, and hopefully you'll get that clarity as to where can you focus your energy. And like, also, like, full disclosure, even for people like us who've been in this for a long time, we still need other people to help get all of that scramble in the head out into something practical. Like,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff around having your own business and following your dream and living your passion, it can be very like over sexified online, like over glorified, like, oh, it's just going to be one cosmic orgasm thing where everything
Yeah, and
feels
the clients will
wonderful.
just roll in and give you €1,000 an hour, and it's all going to be great.
Yeah. And but also, well, I'm going to make a really good point with this as well, where like you're always going to be full of inspiration, and once you follow that inspiration, it's just going to be magical. And actually, when it comes to business, it's often rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's often lots of small daily actions. It's like one of my mentors is using the analogy of like when you're steering a boat and you're moving the rudder, and because if you've ever driven a boat, you can't do a short right turn. You have to do lots of little steers. This is the reality of a lot of online business and marketing. It's about small, doable steps every day. I know I've
Mm.
said earlier about following your joy and following your passion. They're not diametrically opposed. It's often a daily and regular checking in. Where is my energy with this? And
Mm.
then also getting support to actually do the thing, rather than getting stuck in that overthinking and then in that overthinking not actually doing anything about it.
Yeah, these structures can support you. These salons can support you with structure and flow. So I'd say the
Yeah.
joy and the why of why we do it and the easeful moving forwards comes from flow and creativity connected to our authenticity. And then the
Ooh.
structures like blah, 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 what's it called? Trello boards with
We love a
content
Trello
pillars.
board.
Or better Trello.
We
And
love a Trello board.
Trello boards, and yeah, putting structures in place so that when you have that little moment of inspiration, you can harness it and make a little note in your Trello. There was another tool that I was going to mention, which has slipped out of my mind. But
Mm.
then, you know, in those points of flow, you can be like, how can I not lose that thought that I just forgot? If you put it in a little note or in a Trello board, you can come back to it. And on days, like you said, rinse or repeat, on days when you're not feeling so flowy, you can go, oh, what was the flow I had? Oh, I've got all these ideas which I can turn into, and the joy can return. When I've done that, I go, oh yeah, there was that picture, and I wanted to make a post about why that struck me, and
Mm.
maybe, you know, so you can gain inspiration in many ways. Oh yeah, and we can help map that. One thing I do with my practitioner mentees, business mentorship clients that I have one-to-one, is we map learning edges, we map different things, and marketing learning edges and growth edges and resistance can be good to note down so that you gain more awareness of, why do I always resist videos, or why do I always resist writing? And then we can become aware of why it is that we resist certain things, and may choose to continue resisting that and move in a different direction. But I think structure, some of us need more flow and some of us need more structure, and we need both, I feel, to do
Most of us need that nice chunky mix of both, because I know
definitely.
that for some of us in this field, we could, certainly if I speak for myself, we can be very kind of out there. Oh, I just want to follow my inspiration, but actually it's a bit like a feather blowing around in the wind. It doesn't actually go anywhere. We can't always rely on inspiration 24/7. It's having, I like to think of it like a skeleton structure with a little bit of things where you can knock against the walls.
It's very useful.
I had a really good thing in my head that just came up and it's bloody well gone, which is really annoying. Yeah, it's back. It's back. Because also whenever I've done like marketing trainings for sex coaches and sex pros before, I often hear, I hate social media. I hate posting on social media. I'm like, that's fine. You're allowed to hate it, but let's challenge some of your assumptions around it. It doesn't mean that you definitely have to use social media, but let's challenge, or speaking on video, or speaking, or even showing a picture of your face. It's, let's challenge where the let's explore that, because a big thing that is often got unspoken in marketing is fear of visibility. Well, and that can manifest as literally being afraid to show fake pictures of your face. Like one of my small pet hates or pet peeves is when I see a brilliant practitioner or organization where their profile picture is a logo. No, you need to show your face, even if, like, from a basic marketing psychology, people need to see faces. Please show your face. And that can often be around big fear of visibility. Like having your own business and doing marketing is a big personal development thing in itself. But this is what we can also cover in the marketing salons. It's finding how much of my not liking Instagram, not liking TikTok, not liking to go on video, how much of this is a genuine, this is not right for me, and how much of this is a fear, or how much of this is a misconception. Like I often say, social media is as much for just communicating with people, in the same way that if you're going to meet someone at a networking event, you wouldn't just go up to them and throw your business card in the face and walk off. No, it's a way of, I like to think of it as, whether it's social media, whether it's blogging, whether it's your mailing list, it's almost like you're in a room with someone and you are talking to them. One of the many things I learned in my own like marketing and finding my own voice, and what I've learned in writing copy, is practicing writing like you speak. Because the medicine and the magic is when the more you can show up as yourself. I'm not saying it's a one-stop shop. I'm not saying you'll never get clients until you're 100% yourself. That's not realistic. It's more a continual tilting towards, how can I show up more as myself? Like how I actually look in real life, what I actually like, how I actually speak, my actual quirks, my weirdness. And I show more of that, because that's going to create more connection with people than trying to be a professional, which maybe that's you, maybe that's not you.
Yeah. The embodiment aspect to me is, what's the truth of this resistance? And distilling that, harvesting all these good words from embodiment, like we'll
I like
harvest,
that.
then we'll titrate, and then we'll distill. Okay.
Oh God.
Who are you, Willy Wonka? Yeah,
Oh God.
so but these terms do point to, like you just said, what is resistance and what is genuinely, that's just my preference. So discernment for where and how to use your energy towards your business. And if there is resistances, tools like body perm are very good for that, because they bring it into the body, and a more three-dimensional exploration of that resistance, than just saying, oh, I notice you're resistant to that. And yes, I am. And that might be as far as the conversation goes. That's not for me. I've tried video and it's not for me. And on face value, in a conversation with a friend or a fellow professional, we don't necessarily want to be pushy, and that's why I think embodiment tools to looking at our resistance specifically in our marketing,
Specifically.
can be very good, because it is about identity,
Mm,
showing up, being seen, and that's very vulnerable. So can be
can be.
until maybe until we are comfortable, warts and all, being ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Which
when's the
is
next salon, Lucy?
um
Tell me, I'm
thank
excited. When have I got
so
to be available?
we should have bloody clarified this before, because
Oh,
it is technically next week on
25th of
Thursday,
April, isn't it?
25th of April. Are we still
Or
doing
the
that?
23rd, was it?
You see,
We are
you could
doing a
both,
series of them, aren't we?
we're doing a series of them.
Yes. Do you have your diary to hand?
Yeah, I'm opening my Google Calendar. As you can tell, everybody, both Julian and I have very highly distractible, spicy brains, and we have both learned to embrace that about ourselves.
Oh yeah.
So it's on Thursday, April 25th. I was going to say May. It's April 25th.
That's it. Yeah.
Great. And it's 7 till
8:30.
no 8 no
Oh, we
7
were
till
going to
9.
do 2 hours.
Yeah, it's 7 till 8. It's 7 till 9 p.m. UK
7 till
time.
9 p.m. UK time.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes. Where we
So
embrace spicy as nicey.
you know what? I've just realized, bloody double entendre. We are spicy professionals in more ways than one. Anyway, right.
Cool.
So, any questions? Do drop me a DM or a PM. If on Instagram, the link is in my bio. On Facebook, I'll put the link in the comments. Any questions? Do send me an email. And I can't wait to see you at the contents on. Hang on, one last thing. I was going to read out a testimonial from Michael Dresser. He
Yes.
kindly gave us a very wonderful, glowing
Everyone's been
thing.
waiting for that, Lucy. I'm
I
glad you
know.
didn't forget it.
I'm so sorry I kept you waiting, but I hope the erotic tension was titillating.
It was
And it
worth
said,
it.
I love the generosity of time and resources that Lucy and Julian shared with us, both during the event and afterwards. I particularly enjoyed the co-working segment of the session. I found it really helpful to be able to work on my own real projects and still have access to Lucy and Julian to ask questions or get clarity when I was unsure about something. And I also learned useful things from hearing them respond to other people's questions too. And we also have a lovely testimonial from Carly Wazowski. I really hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And I'm so glad I attended content and marketing for Spicy Pros. I wasn't sure about what to expect, but I went in feeling quite overwhelmed, trying to figure out how to create content and market effectively. By the end of our time together, I felt so much more grounded and my nervous system was much calmer. I most appreciated that Lucy and Julian were so attentive to the concerns I brought up. They were so willing to share resources and their knowledge and did so in such a thoughtful way. I look forward to the next one.
Yay.
Yay. Right. Any words that you want to close this with, Julian?
Yeah, just that it was enjoyable last time, and do look forward to the April the 25th, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. UK time. And finding that balance between what I think flow and structure and the sessions that we've designed have that in them. And then between, the other thing is between what it is that we know is our gift that we serve with, and what it is that identify. If you've watched this recording or been interested in these salons, we really support people to identify that. What is it that people come to me for? And if we communicate that, we will get to do more of what we love. We identify what it is that we give and what it is that we get from it. And then we're more able to create the content and communications from that place rather than from a trying place.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, it's been a pleasure, Julian, to connect with you. And it's been a pleasure. I hope that anybody watching, listening to this, either live or on the replay, I hope you get benefit and value from this. And I hope we'll see you at the content salon. So I'm going to now end this on Instagram. There we go. Bye. On Instagram. And now I'm going to do the thing where's my Zoom? There we are. And I'm going to end this on Facebook. Bye, Facebook.
Thank you.
And I'm going to stop recording now.